Hey, what's up, guys? This is Paul from Paul's Carts, and this is the Trinity set. So first of all, I just want to say, if you guys are watching and you guys are looking for knowledge or content or something like that, this is going to be a sale video because this is the Trinity set, the head, the cam, and the carb, and this set is going on sale. It's going on sale coming this Monday. So if in fact you do need a head, a cam, or a carb, or this Trinity set, which is a power monster, Josh Arch actually won the, the Full Throttle magazine, all three categories, Pro Comp, Pro Elite, and Pro Outlaw classes, running this Trinity set. Had a lot of luck with this set, and we've made some improvements to it, and it's going on a sale of a sale of a sale. So let's get started. First thing we'll talk about is the head, and we've made some changes to the head. So this is how you would get it. If you guys notice any changes we've made, it does come with valve train. This is a big valve head. Comes with the dual coil springs and titanium retainers, and just a little, make sure you wash your parts, how to maintenance, stuff like that. So let me get this box out of here. So, talking about the cylinder head. Now, a few things we do have with these cylinder heads. A lot of this stuff has been the same, but I'm still just gonna talk about it and go through it as if you've never seen this cylinder head before. Now, this is a big valve head. This is a 3228 seats installed in this head. We use a 14cc casting, which is a smaller size chamber than the big Predator non-Hemi style chambers. This smaller chamber gives you more compression ratio. Now, we also have a welded intake tube on these, which allows you for more airflow instead of dealing with a bolt-on manifold that would give you a restriction. As you can see, this is a large open area that you can see all the way through to the valve seat. Also, if you notice inside, you can see this thing has an epoxy port. We shape it and we do a texture with epoxy, and this atomizes the air better and allows us to shape the port in ways we couldn't without doing the epoxy port. Another thing this cylinder head has, it has bronze guides. You see inside there where the valves go, those are bronze guides. Normally guides are made of some type of cast steel. Bronze guides allow tighter clearances, and tighter clearances means more stable valve train, and they also allow a better oil lubrication through the bronze, kind of repelling it, and it almost has a aquaphobic type of situation going on in there between the bronze and the stainless steel valves with the oil. Our bronze guides that we make have a head on them. As you can see, it's not just coming out. After we've cut the spring pockets, which are also cut, you can see that this head sits on top of that boss. Most other people that use bronze guides use the standard guides that can actually keep getting pushed right through and fall out. We use a head to help stabilize the guide, and it also retains the inner spring. Through stabilizing the guide and stabilizing the valve and holding the spring steady, you actually get a much more stable valve train. Stable valve train allows you to turn higher RPM. Higher RPM allows you to make more power. As I said before, these are 3228 seats. These are 3228 seats that you've heard of, but we make our own 3228 seats. These seats do not touch in the center. These are two full seats. A lot of companies now are going with the 3225. I believe I made a lot of videos in the past about the problems of 3228 seats. There was really nothing available on the market, so we just decided to make our own seats. So we have 3228 seats that don't touch, allows you, instead of going 3225, gives you a 28 millimeter exhaust valve, which then allows a lot more exhaust gases to exit the chamber, allowing a much fresher intake charge to come in. Colder, fresher intake charge means more power. So now, one thing, let's talk about stuff that our other Trinity set didn't have. Now, we are now incorporating max porting. See how there's a bronze tube in this oil passage here? Here's a little SI plug. Thank you, SI. We use a lot of their products. This little bronze tube here is going through the oil passage in this cylinder head. This allows us to open up this port wall larger because we are not worried about breaking through this oil passage. Normally, without this modification done, you would need to leave port wall thickness here in order to not break through this oil passage. That restricts the size of the port you can make. And by doing this modification, we've allowed for 80 thousandths or 2 millimeter bigger cross-sectional area here in the port, which is the tightest area in the port. So if you can open that up bigger, you can get more airflow through. So that's what this is. Another modification we've made is to our chamber shape. As you notice, we have a dip in this corner. Let me show you what that is. Now, we've always talked about scribing head gaskets onto the head. And as you can see here, that shape, instead of just being rounded off here, pulls down into this corner. And we also extend this eyebrow out to get the edge of the exhaust valve to be flush with the cylinder wall. This represent the ID of this head gasket represents the cylinder wall. So if the air comes down here, if the air is coming out here, it doesn't just transfer right into the cylinder wall and go straight down into the cylinder. Picture a cylinder here. This is going to be some bigger stuff, but this is basically what the engine sees. Now, this is big 80 millimeter stuff, but this is what the engine sees. That's what the piston sees, is that chamber. Now, picture this being the same size as that, you know, as a tube coming up. And as you can see here, this wall transition, how it hugs this exhaust gasket. Now, we make every one of our Trinity sets to spec. So if you tell us your bore size and your stroke, we will customize this set so that this always transitions right down into your bore. So when the air comes up here, there's no weird funky lip like here where the air gets all turbulent. This air comes right out this valve and goes straight down deep into the cylinder. And this actually catches when the piston's coming down on the exhaust stroke and forces the air out the exhaust. With the modification of the more flow and these brows on our chamber, we've been able to increase overall horsepower by 2 horsepower. Now that's a relative number, and we're using a 236cc engine. That was a 72 millimeter head gasket. We use a 236cc engine as our baseline for all of our stats because it's an engine right in the middle. So if you have a 212 or if you have a 3-inch bore, you can use that as a guide to depict how much power you would make. But these modifications alone are very big modifications. They're small little details. They look like small little details, but they're very big when they transition over into horsepower and how the engine sees the cylinder head. So these are the heads that go with our Trinity set. This is the valve train that comes with our Trinity set. This is stainless steel SI valves. They're coated on the face and on the stem, nitride coated. This is a heat and lubricity coating. Now, these also come with the dual coil springs and the titanium retainers and keepers. We do lap these to the head before we're sent and check the valve seal on all of these products before they go out. One big deal with making horsepower in a lot of companies is they just install the valve seats. Usually the job is shit from everything I've seen. Valve seal and ring seal and all these seals inside the engine, this is your power. If they're leaking, you're down on power. So this is the head aspect of this Trinity set. Now let's talk about the carburetor. This is our carburetor. This is how our carburetor comes. He happened to select, you can select gas or methanol through the listing. He selected methanol. Both of them are the same price. We are running a sale right now. Normally, this head would be $3.99. Add the welded intake tube, that's $100, so $4.99. Add the max porting, which is $100, that's $5.99. Upgrade to the dual coil springs and titanium retainers over the single 37-pound springs and billet retainers is a $50 upgrade. So you're talking about $649 worth of cylinder head and modifications done. Also the epoxy port, which is $80. We'll just call it $700 cylinder head sitting there. All right. So just in this set alone, if we sold this set for $700, $699, you would be getting our carburetor, which is $180 as a base carburetor. Plus, you can add the third circuit adjustable fuel valve, which comes on the Trinity set. Plus, you can add a velocity stack, which also comes included on the Trinity set. This is around a $240 carburetor, as we have shown here. This is a pump around style carburetor. This is a methanol carburetor. This has our third circuit billet fuel valve, which is a valve right here, which you can externally control the amount of fuel that's going to your power valve. It also has a velocity stack, and this is all comes pre-tuned for your engine. The methanol carbs, these are guaranteed, plug and play. You'll never have an issue with them. We have the best tuned guy on earth, Harley. Our carb guy is amazing. And then you get the PK RPM3 cam. This is a $170 cam. This is our cam. We call it the PK RPM3 cam. It's just a cam that we developed. First job when we got our dyno was to say, hey, let's find the best cam. So we tested a bunch of cams. We tested everything out there, all the dyno cams, the NR cams, all the 308s, the 307s, 306s, all these versions of them, the ISKI cams. When we finally found a trend in a cam that started making more power than the rest of the cams, and the way we looked at our cams wasn't traditional. It wasn't just, okay, which one made the most peak horsepower? Because sometimes a cam takes from Peter down low and gives to Paul up top on the bottom end. When you do find a cam that makes a lot of horsepower up top, it usually sacrifices a lot down low. So what we looked at was a different approach, was how much horsepower it made at 1,000 RPM, how much horsepower it made at 2,000, how much horsepower it made at every 1,000 RPM all the way up to 8,500, 9,000 RPM. We took that and say it made 10 horsepower at 1,000. We took and wrote 10. How many horsepower at 2,000? We wrote that number down. Then we went all the way to 9,000, and how much it made at 9,000, wrote that number down. We added that number up. That was our total horsepower per cam. Then when we look, what we were looking for is the cam with the highest total number. That means it had the most power everywhere. When we finally started testing all of our cams, we came across a cam that had very good characteristics and it had an extremely high number. When we got to this cam, we looked at the valve intake and opening closing timings and stuff like that. We noticed that it had a different trend than the other cams. So we called our guy we called Mike, And we said, hey, Mike, grind us up a few cams. So Mike ground us up a cam, and we ground 3 variations of this cam. He sent them back to us. We checked them out. We ran the cams, and the best cam of all the cams that had the highest horsepower number overall, we called the PK RPM3 cam. Now we have these to fit the GX200, in which also fits the Predator Hemi, and we have them to fit the old style Hemi. The Predator Hemi and the GX200 also fits the Tillotson. So under the Trinity set, it'll say what bottom end style do you have. It'll be asking for the cam fit. You'll select, Tillotson or GX200 or Predator old style or Predator Hemi, whatever you have. That'll give us what size ends are needed for the cam. Same cam, just different size ends that fit in the block. Then it'll ask you, do you want gas or methanol? That'll be how we set your carb up. And the head will come as it comes, all decked out, full, all the options. This set, if you added it up all individually and priced each part out and bought it, just added each item to the cart, got the $3.99 head, added the welded intake tube, added max porting on the shop services, added epoxy port, upgraded to the dual coil springs, got the methanol carburetor, added the third circuit, added the velocity stack, and put the PK RPM3 cam in your cart, will come up to $1,160. If you get it as a Trinity set, we offered it at $9.99 and had a ton of luck, had a great savings. Dropped our everyday price down to $7.99, and this set has sold like hotcakes ever since we've done that. Since this is such a popular set and guys are making power and winning Full Throttle magazine competitions and getting our name out there and stuff like that, Josh, you did a great job. And there's just been a lot of talk all around about the Trinity set for years now. And over time, it's just got better. More options than normal. We've even upgraded to the max porting, chamber shape, and we're offering it now for $6.99. That's half price with more options than it ever had. Anyhow, let's also just keep talking about what else is in the Trinity set. When you get into the Trinity set, you get this carburetor. Now this is a sick carburetor. These are the PWK D-slide carburetors. The reason we use PWK D-slide carburetors, people say, oh yeah, I want to use a Mikuni carb. Well, Mikuni carbs were designed in the 40s. A Tillotson carb was designed in like the 20s. It has no fuel atomization. It has no emulsion tubes in a Tillotson. Then you get into, in around the 40s, the Mikuni TMs and stuff like that came out. If you got like a 98 CRF 450, it would have a before they went to fuel injection, it would have a PWK D-slide on there. It's the newest technology out there. That's why we're using them. It's a combination of a round slide and a flat slide. It has the fuel atomization through the emulsion tubes. It has emulsion tubes on both the pilot and the main jet. It's the best to tune, the best to done, best circuits inside the carb. And we go through these top to bottom, needle seat, main jet, pilot jet, emulsion tubes, and make these set up for methanol. Add an external third circuit billet adjustable fuel valve and velocity stack, and this is how it is set up. Also run a pump around system, so it's good to work with a pulse pump. Also has a little weighted tube on the end, so this thing is, and you could trim this. I've even seen some guys tuck it up, and there's a little hole here. I've seen some guys clip it through if they don't like it hanging down. But, hey, you will see these carbs out there and everywhere, and everybody rants and raves over them. We've had guys that have had setups that say, hey, I really can't get this thing to tune. They buy one of these carbs, and just like that, thing starts up, runs great. Carb alone, amazing deal. This set, Trinity set, and I'm talking about we have experience. I mean, nice boxes, padding in our boxes, fully labeled, everything's great. And when you talk about experience, some guys, every 6 months a guy pops up and he's doing cylinder heads. And yes, some people can make them look nice and clean. Experience speaks. Experience. I don't know why someone would say, oh, this guy's new, let me try him. If they're new, they're new. Nobody that's just starting, they might think in their head they know everything. They might have just read some books. Trust me, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, I just read all the books. I put all this information out there. And you know what? A lot of that stuff doesn't work. You really have to be doing this for years to be able to figure out the fine nuances of things that go wrong. And I'm not trying to put anybody down, but realistically, it takes experience to know what you're doing. Years and years has brought this product to what it is today. Great product. I stand by my product. I guarantee the valve seats, the valve guides will not fall out in these heads. If they do, I will fix them for free. I will pay shipping and anything. I stand by my products. I'm Paul. I own Paul's Carts. Along with these products, you also get some great sticker packs. Along with the Trinity set, you also get a carb connector. This is a $15 piece right here. It comes with the silicone, which is the good one, and 2 hose clamps. Exhaust bolts, intake set. This guy also, he got the methanol carb and he got gas jets. He added some gas jets. This set right here, like I said, is worth over $1,200. We have it all the time at $99, have it all the time. We just dropped it to $7.99. We have had so much success with this. Guys, if you need a set, if you guys need a head, a cam, and a carb for less than you can buy one billet head for, one cylinder head for, $6.99 for a $200 cam. The best cam we could find. This isn't just a cam. This is literally the best cam we could find. There's some guys might not like it. Some guys might love it. But honestly, guys, this cam makes the most power all around. If you want a cam that just screams up top, you're going to be sacrificing off the line. And yes, you can go try and tune your Juggernaut or tune your Polaris, but this thing makes mid-range and it screams up top. Guys in the 330, they can turn this thing to 11,000 RPMs. Don't recommend it. You know, shut it down in 9,500. But max, I would say. But yeah, and with the dual coil springs on the big valve head, you know, that this thing will turn 8,500 RPM all day. Welded intake tube, gets all the air through the carb, everything made to match. Paul's Carts, get it now, on sale, $6.99. Trinity set, on sale, $6.99. Get that shit. Paul from Paul's Carts, love you guys, have a nice day.